Welcome back to another episode of the Logistics Remix. Today's episode is all about unlocking global markets for small and mid-sized Indian businesses. Our guest is Saurabh Goyal, founder and CEO of Xindus, a cross-border commerce platform that's helping Indian businesses scale globally with tech-enabled logistics, compliance, and fulfillment. Saurabh, great to have you on the show.
Hey, Timur, thank you for having me. Super excited to speak to you.
Likewise, I can't wait for this conversation. I think we've got a lot to talk about, so we'll jump right into it. But first, Saurabh, I want to set the backdrop for this conversation for the audience. India is on track for 1 trillion in merchandise exports by 2030, but global marketplaces and brands seeking India supply still face fragmented supply chains, broken logistics, poor trust, and complex regulations. Now, meanwhile, Indian small and mid-sized enterprises are held back by limited reach, regulatory friction, and lack of scale. So the way I understand it, Xindus solves both sides of this trade stack by providing any marketplace, brand, or seller with an Amazon or a Shein-style backend infrastructure and intelligence, instantly unlocking that India supply at scale. Now, your platform, Xindus One, brings together marketplace enablement, end-to-end supply chain execution, trade compliance, and working capital into one workflow. Since 2023, Xindus has raised over 10 million in capital and has enabled over 1,000 customers to cut their supply chain costs by up to 20%. Okay, so 1 trillion in exports by 2030, quite a big number. I'm not surprised you're building a company to go after this space. What I want to do is start by talking about the origin. What were you doing when the idea for Xindus came to you? And how did you validate the idea prior to starting the company?
Oh, I think super, and yes, 1 trillion is a big number. India is a big country. There are hundreds of thousands of small businesses, and these businesses are increasingly getting more competitive, bringing in technology, and raring to go participate in global markets, right? And therefore, someone like us at Xindus is just able to tap into all of that entrepreneurial energy and say, how can we take them global? But coming back to your point on where this all started, I used to run the supply chain business for the Foxconn Technology Group in India. The Foxconn Technology Group is
Oh,
one of the
yeah.
world's largest conglomerates. Running the iPhones and so on and so forth. When I was at Foxconn, people used to say that any electronics device anywhere in the world has some part coming from a Foxconn factory. I don't know if it's 100% true, but that's the scale in some ways of the business. And around 2015, 16, uh, as Foxconn thought about investing into India, building India into probably its second sort of home or second large manufacturing center after China. And then Apple, being one of their large customers and partners, started speaking about co-working with them to bring the iPhone ecosystem into India, right? Justa supply chain business, so Foxconn's supply chain business is called Justa Supply Chain. Uh, they were looking to they were looking to enter India, right? You can't make phones without having the supply chain in place. And so they were looking to come to India to build the back end, build the backbone, build the connective tissue to allow parts and machinery and equipment to come in and, phones to go out, right? And also in a country like India, right, which was and still is at an early stage of its cross-border trade journey. Something like this was being done for the first time, right? Whether it was from the government perspective, infrastructure perspective, process perspective, technology perspective, this scale, volume was hadn't just been seen, right? And it so happened that I got connected to the global CEO at Just a Supply Chain. Happened to meet her a few times, discuss what they were looking to do, and then she invited me to come on board and build that business for them in India. And it was too large an opportunity to not sort of take up, right? So I took it on. I thought I would get to see scale, global competitiveness, and I wasn't disappointed at all. So 5 to 6 years, 2016 till 2022, I ran that business. Help, I would say, participate in building the backbone, building the sort of founding blocks for growing that manufacturing ecosystem in India. Of course, working with a number of entities within the Foxconn group who were actually setting up the factories while we were doing the supply chain side of the story, and then working with just so many tens and hundreds of suppliers around the world who were feeding into that ecosystem, right? So, so doing that, Timur, of course, right? uh, Revelational. You learn how that sort of global scale works, how cross-border supply chains operate. You also learn what the friction is that people like Apple or Foxconn or Amazon have solved, but small businesses are not able to sort of get to, and that's what really inspired this move to set up Xindus, right? So Xindus stands for X Indus. X is cross border. Indus is India, cross border from India, and that's our mission. Our mission really stems from saying that how can we take 100,000 businesses who want to uh, go global, and how do we give them the tools, technology, infrastructure, intelligence that an Apple has, an Amazon has, a Sheen has, a Temu has, but small businesses don't have and can't build as a common highway, right? So that's the genesis, that's the inspiration, and that's why I'm here. We're here.
Yeah, fantastic. So you saw it at an enormous company with global reach. I mean, we're talking about manufacturing iPhones and other really complex devices, and you must have seen a lot of friction there. Uh, I love these stories of entrepreneurs in their jobs finding opportunities and thinking, "Gosh, someone's got to solve this," and then going out and solving it. I think that's awesome. So, congrats on starting the company. Now, Xindus just raised 10 million to expand cross-border trade for Indian SMBs. Can you define who that SMB is? And what are the biggest barriers these businesses face when exporting globally? And how does Xindus solve them?
Oh, absolutely. Today we work with 1,000 plus businesses, and these businesses come from a few different personas. So we have a lot of small merchants and manufacturers who pretty much sell, on an Amazon, Etsy, eBay, etc. So that's one large cohort of customers that we work with. Uh, then we have, over the last 8, 10 years, as e-commerce domestically in India has grown, a lot of D2C brands in India have been able to build products for a growing Indian market, which is also getting more sophisticated, demanding better products, right? And some of these businesses now believe and are showing that their products can do well globally. So in certain cases, we work with these fast-growing D2C brands who've done very well in India or are growing dramatically in India, but now want to go around the world and take their products to market everywhere, right? So we work with them. And then, to a lesser degree today, but uh, probably growing at a very fast clip, we also work with B2B manufacturing businesses who are selling to an American factory, who are selling to an American retailer, right? Sort of not D2C, more B2B. So we work across the SWOT, across these three types of cohorts, and that's what we do. Your second, the second part of your question was, how do we help them? How do we help them scale, or what are the problems and challenges they face, right? uh, so if you are a D2C business, sort of trying to sell globally, there are two, three things which are very important to you, right? One, you need either a website or a marketplace where you will sell, and you need traffic there. Two, you need to be able to ship to wherever your customer is. And shipping can mean not just shipping, it could mean shipping, fulfillment, returns management, just this whole supply chain execution capability and capacity. And then you need compliance. You need product compliance, you need trade compliance. You need that compliance capability. Different countries have different rules, different standards, and businesses, small and large, are not aware as they go into those countries and geographies. How to sort of get that right, and it can be very costly if you don't get it right. So they don't have sort of access to that, uh, or it would take them a lot of time to build that knowledge. If someone could not sort of help them accelerate that journey, and then you need, any trade has goods flowing and has money flowing, right? So you need money to move, and you need money to sort of invest into inventory and what have you, right? So that's what trade is about. So when we started, we said we will start by solving for the supply chain. So we built a cross-border delivery business akin to a FedEx, UPS, DHL, which a lot of small businesses, e-com businesses need. There was no one in India doing that. We were sort of first of the bat, trying to build this, the equivalent of an American alternative faster carrier, but on a more sort of global scale out of India. So in some ways, what a China now is to Alibaba, or what a a Shein or a Temu have built for themselves, building it as a common infra for everyone out of India, going into the US to begin with. So we started from there. Then we graded that capability to include capability to sort of local fulfillment and returns by integrating partners, so that as a Xindus exporter, you could just come onto Xindus One, start shipping, and not just ship if your business was growing. You could store locally. If someone wanted to return a product, manage returns in the US, and all of these things seem like small things, but each of them adds 2, 3, 4, 5% to bottom line, and transforms the business from sort of not doing so well to doing so much better, right? So that's what we do, and then along the way, we ended up building more compliance capabilities. So today, right, we're speaking when de minimis is going off, in a few days. The fact that we were able to build this super tech powered supply chain and compliance rails running together, I think our exporters are in a sweet spot today, not having to sweat, thinking about how in this new world they will execute, right? Because we've built a very good technology stack to support that whole supply chain plus compliance workflow. So we support them with supply chain, support them with compliance, and as we move forward, we're building our program to be able to give them market access by taking them to marketplaces and giving them a certain amount of financial access by looking at their data and see if we can give them, say, a credit line, right? So that they can invest in their inventory, right? And that's why we talk of ourselves as a full trade ecosystem, a full trade operating system, bringing sort of everything together.
Yeah, it sounds like a one-stop shop. Now you must be doing something right because you've been able to bring on board 1,000 customers. And congrats. I mean, $10 million capital raise, that's fantastic. So there must, you've got some customer proof there, and you've got some investor interest, not only interest, but confidence to be able to invest that kind of capital. So that's really great. Now, to your last point, you mentioned an expansion. So you're expanding geographically and building out more capabilities. What's on the roadmap in terms of those new markets? And also, since you're a technology company, product releases.
So, so, so we primarily built this business from India out into the US as the core sort of anchor market. The idea was to build one corridor out, prove the product, prove the technology stack, sort of, get it to a certain amount of depth, show that customers want to work with us, show that we can execute for them, and then replicate it across a few corridors so that, for a merchant, for a manufacturer looking to access global markets, we truly can be that single place of doing business, right? And if we look outwards from India today, for our customers, markets like Canada, markets like UK, Europe, European Union, the Middle East, Australia, are important markets, and then on a secondary basis, potentially Latin America, Southeast Asia, Japan, Korea, right? So these are the markets that make sense for our merchant, right? So over the next 6, 12, 18, 24 months, we just want the same India, US, Xindus corridor, Xindus tech stack to be available across corridors. So if you're an Indian business, want to participate in all of these markets, we should be able to, at the click of a button, make you live on any marketplace, in any of these countries, allow you to run compliances, make your products good to sell, and then actually ship them and sell them, right? without you having to sort of go anywhere else, right? So that's what we want to do from the corridor perspective. From a product perspective, like I said, we've done a lot of work on the supply chain side. We've done a fairly good amount of work on the compliance side, and now, of course, that will keep deepening, and there's never an end to what you want to sort of do. But now we want to start building the true sort of trade capabilities, so integrated marketplaces, take our merchants to multiple marketplaces, go to the marketplaces and say that we have all these thousands of merchants on our platform who could sort of come and sell on your platform without you having to make the hard effort of coming to India, onboard all of them, right? Because through Xindus you can just get access to all of them in one go. And then, as small businesses anywhere expand, they need more support with financing, right? Because that is what allows them. They don't have the necessarily the cash flow. The business could be growing very rapidly, and therefore, we see a great opportunity and a great need to be able to sort of bring financing solutions onto the platform, especially because these are our partners. We work with them every day. We know they're good businesses. We have good data on them. So I think we are well positioned to help them underwrite the needs from financing perspective, right? That's the roadmap overall.
That's really interesting. I mean, data is such a key input into financing someone's business, right, and helping them grow. And as you help them grow, open up marketplaces, open up geographies. Well, they still have to pay. They still have to manufacture that product. So it does take capital. So it's interesting that you've identified that as one of the key issues you want to go solve. But you're doing it with a data-driven approach. I think that's fantastic. Um, Now you're at 1,000 customers today, or over 1,000. But I heard your stated goal is to onboard 10,000 customers and hit over 200 million in GMV. We're talking US dollars, okay? And this is not like 10 years out. We're talking what, 18 months, somewhere around there. What those are pretty significant numbers. I don't think there's a lot of businesses out there saying they can go 10x their business, or even 5x their business in the next 18 months. But I'm curious, like, what are you seeing? Like, what's your growth playbook to hit that scale? And how are you tracking so far?
So Timur, we built this delivery network out from India into the US as our sort of core wedge, because we saw that the market had a need. Prior to us, the only options really were DHL, FedEx, UPS, and as most small businesses know, it's not so easy to work with them, right? If you're a small business, right? And there was a crying need on the market to create a new type of carrier who was built for digital commerce for SMBs, bringing in not just delivery, but delivery plus plus with fulfillment, returns, compliance sort of built into the whole platform, available in self-serve sort of a model, right? Because if you want to build to serve 100,000 customers, it cannot be done by having account managers and so on and so forth, right? So DHL, FedEx, UPS can probably do this for large brands, but cannot do this for 100,000 customers sort of working autonomously, right? And then we design from the ground up, thinking of that scale and that type of customer cohort, right? Yeah. So given that in some ways we've hit that product market fit of delivering for these businesses, the network has turned dense enough that then the network today, how supply chain networks are, right? When you start, there isn't enough density, you're probably losing money, and you're hoping to get to enough density and flow for the network to start churning money, right? So we've sort of crossed that key inflection point where our network sort of is dense enough, doesn't lose money anymore. And actually sort of economics keeps improving, speed keeps improving, reliability keeps improving, pretty much, right? So once you get to that stage, right, you start getting a lot of inbound and word of mouth and referrals. So about 50% of our new customers just come from referral. We don't have to go and win them. They just come from referral, right? So that is what gives us this confidence that we can go from 1,000 to 10,000 customers, because we're seeing that acceleration on the sort of acquisition journey. And then from a GMV standpoint, Timur, right, as we go from the US to UK and all these sort of multiple corridors, right, our merchants today, say the US is 40% of the business for them. Let's assume it's 40% of the business. So today I'm only playing in 40% of the business, right? I'm not playing in 60% of the business. So as I open these 4, 5 corridors, automatically my wallet share or my opportunity to serve them across their business sort of goes up, right? And we launched into UK earlier this year, and we've had very good sort of learning where we've been able to show and we've been able to see that merchants who work with us on the US corridor are very happy to start using us, say, on the UK corridor as well, right? So those two things, the fact that the product has hit a certain amount of inflection, it is pulling customers, not sort of we don't have to go and sell, it's pulling customers, and two. As we expand corridors, we'll just be able to take so much more sort of wallet share with our customers, in addition to, of course, being able to grow our customers as we take them to newer markets.
Yeah, that's awesome. So it sounds like referrals are the key to growth. And if you're doing a good job for someone and they're finding a lot of value, they're gonna go tell their friends, right? They're gonna go tell others. This thing could really grow. And look, I believe in you guys. It sounds like just given the track record and the traction you're gaining, I think that's fantastic. Um, and you haven't been in business for decades, right? So this is it gives you a fresh perspective to build something new and a new solution in an enormous market. I think that's great. I think you got to go after big markets to do big things. Now, what are some of the most underestimated challenges in building trust with small exporters? Because I'm thinking as Xindus is introducing this technology, I mean, you're introducing it into high stakes, high regulation space. So can you speak to those those challenges in building trust with the solution you're building versus what they were doing prior to Xindus?
It can be hard, right? It can be hard. As I say to my team, when you're standing between your customer and their customer, and you get it wrong, and they're a business owner, they're going to make your life miserable, right? So you better be on the toes, or we better be on our toes, and we better sort of get it right more times than not, right? So clearly it can be. Uh, why do our customers work with us? Or how do we sort of onboard them and how do we retain them? Like I said to you, the lack of choice on the market when we started was one of the key reasons why we started getting traction. So India is a large country, and like I said, from a cross-border delivery standpoint, only really three carriers, DHL, FedEx, UPS, who are great companies, are known to be sort of, symbols of trust, right? Big brands. And you're trying to go as a startup to someone who's been using them for 5, 10, 15 years and say, hey, why don't you start working with Xindus? And who are you?
Hmm.
Right? Where did you come from? Right? So the approach that we took was, and this would be interesting for your audience as well. So India, Timur is divide is has about 80 export clusters, which has, say a city or a town and, say a certain radius around it. And each cluster could be good at automotive parts, or could be good at leather products, or could be good at, knitted garments, or could be good at, toys, right? Something like jewelry, right? Something, right? So when we started, we said, hey, people don't know us. Let's pick one cluster and just go and camp there, right? And go and camp there and tell our story and say, hey, this is what we want to build and this will be useful for you, right? And so that's what we did. We went to the city, Surat, in Western India, Gujarat. It's a big hub for, actually for diamonds. We weren't shipping diamonds, but it's a big hub for diamonds. And it is also a big hub for fashion and apparel out of India. So we went there. And and it's a big hub for e-commerce, both domestic as well as cross border. So we went there, we spent time. We spoke to people. We told them what we wanted to do, and then there was this brand called French Crown. They're an Indian men's apparel brand. They're a Shark Tank India brand, and the founder, he took a bet on us and he said, "All right, we'll work with you." Right, and of course, we had a beta product and we had a prototype and all of that, and we told him about our background and so on and so forth. But then we'll take a bet on you, right? And let's start, right? Uh, and we were in business. We were in business, right? And they started sort of shipping with us. And then what happened was, and this is what built our playbook out, because French Crown was well known in that city as a reasonable sized brand or as a leading brand, word traveled. So the next person we went to say, we said, hey, French Crown ships with us. Uh, and they said, all right, French Crown ships with you. Maybe we can give you a try, right? And then the wheels started churning. And that's what we learned. So today, when we go into a new city, so we follow that approach of going sort of city to city. When we go into a new city, we try and identify a lighthouse account or two lighthouse accounts. You spend more time with them. You convince them of what you're trying to build and how it will add value. And then, if you can get a couple of such accounts on board in any region, in any city, you just get multi-year upside from that.
That's awesome. Yes, it sounds like you're building customer proof with one or two well-known brands, and then yeah, word spreads. I mean, word spreads. You're not trying to throw a bunch of stuff at the wall and see what sticks. I think that it sounds like a really interesting approach. Sounds like a really interesting approach. Look, customers, you can you can sell them all you want, right? But in my experience, like they want to buy from not only people they can trust, but people other people they know trust. And so that is what sounds like what you guys are doing. Um, let's take it to tariffs. I mean, we can't have a cross-border conversation if tariffs aren't being mentioned.
Uh,
A lot of stuff's in flux, of course. So it's hard to go into specifics by the time we release this conversation. Things may be changing. As But the one thing that we do know is with the de minimis exemption for shipments to U.S. ending imminently, like, what's the immediate impact you expect for Indian SMB exporters selling direct to consumer? And what should they be doing right now to adapt on their pricing, their logistics, and compliance strategies?
so I'll take the second part first. Because the environment in which you're executing is changing dramatically from August 29, right? De minimis shipments. I understand last year 1.2, 1.4 billion packages came into the US de minimis, probably a bulk from China, maybe very little from India. But businesses around the world, right, could ship into the US and into many other countries because of these sort of low thresholds on compliance and so on and so forth, right? So, so today, even today, right, when you ship into the US, you make a package, you just sort of send it onwards to the US, and because it's duty free shipping, largely I think CBP doesn't bother too much about how have you classified it, how have you valued it, and so on and so forth, because it's no loss to the exchequer, right, to the treasury, right, because they're not making any money on it, and except for the fact that if you were shipping stuff which was a security risk, it was contraband, I think largely you would be left alone. Now this changes, right? Because of course, tariffs have gone up, and they're supposed to collect tariff, right? And that means you have to now start classifying the product correctly. A lot of small businesses have no experience in really reading a product description and saying what is the right HSN code or right HTS code, right? And at their scale and volume, it is not possible for them to go to customs brokers and sort of get it done, which is too expensive to do it, right? Of course, you need a customs broker, but just think about thousands and thousands of shipments having to go to brokers every day and for them to read it and say what is the classification, what is the duty rate, and so on and so forth, right? So that's the first challenge that happens as you go into this sort of new environment. Second, linked to that, partially linked to that, over the last 20, 25 years, a lot of PGA, FDA products coming into the US, low value shipments, uh, compliance requirements were waived off or were relaxed. And therefore, you did not have to comply with a lot of product standards uh, to ship into a market like the US, which was a boon for people, right? But which probably rightly would have created a certain amount of inferior products sort of maybe coming into the market, right? Now that's gone away as well. So you have to classify a product, you have to assess a duty, you have to pay a duty. You also have to make sure that your product meets certain certification standards, or can be sort of, proven to be of the right sort of, antecedents and quality, right? So that's an additional sort of burden to bear. And then, because now you actually have to go to CBP and you have to pay a duty, you need an importer of record capability to actually collect a duty and pay a duty, right? So a whole host of changes just in the supply chain execution side, without which you just can't do it, right? And to my mind, without the right tech, it's impossible to do. So as we sit today now on the 21st of August, to the to the best of my understanding, Xindus is the only company out of India which has the ability to allow you to connect your web store, to connect your Amazon account, pull your order data, use AI to classify it, put a duty rate on it, uh, uh, flag you for documentation that may be needed if it's a PGA link sort of product, and help you ship and pay the duty, right? So in a seamless single workflow that we call one click ship. So tariffs mean that the burden on compliance and both trade and product compliance has gone up significantly, and therefore technology to help drive that change uh, has to be there. Otherwise, you will not be able to execute, right? So that's a key part, right? And it has to be technology enabled, because otherwise the cost of doing this will just be atrocious, and the business won't be able to take it, right? So I think that's the first part. The second part on how do tariffs impact businesses. My sense is that today, of course, right, as we head into August 27, 28, India is expected to have a 25% reciprocal tariff and an additional 25% tariff for oil trade with Russia, as the US defines it, right? So 50% tariff is, of course, a fairly high barrier, and I would expect that there would be a certain amount of uh, uh, softness in demand that would come. Having said that, especially on the e-commerce side, I see that a lot of the product basket that we carry is very unique to India, and therefore, it's not like it is so easily replaceable from other markets. So B2B markets and B2C markets are very different, right? On a B2B market, let's say you're an apparel manufacturer, you could be competing with a factory in Bangladesh and Vietnam and China. But if you're sending herbal tea from India, you're competing with no one, right? So if someone wants to buy herbal tea, they just have to potentially maybe buy it from India, or maybe they like Japanese tea, right? So there are certain sources from where that business comes. So my sense is that while 50% tariff, of course, is high, I think our customers, in large part, have some price elasticity. They can raise prices a bit, and also I believe that they will, of course, have to adjust their margins a little bit to be able to sort of share that pain with their end consumer, right? So that's how I think about it. Of course, in the long run, if tariff barriers remain high, it could dampen spirits, it could dampen sort of volumes. But in the short run, I think this is how it will play out.
Yeah, I don't think the tea drinkers are going to be too happy. I like tea. I'm more of a coffee guy. I like tea, but yeah, the tea drinkers are not going to be happy with this change if it stays where it is. Like you mentioned, there's no other replacement. Um, yeah, and I could see that. Listen, I think the process is going to get more complex for the Indian SMBs. They're going to have to classify their products. You could do this manually. Hard to do it at scale manually, and yeah, I think you've got it. It sounds like you're solving that as well. So you're kind of set up to help them through this transition with the de minimis ending. Let's talk about. I think actually, I think I've had you for quite some time. We're having a great conversation. I know, this is a cross border conversation. So because I'm in Texas and you, where are you right now?
I'm in Delhi, Gurgaon.
You're in Delhi, right? So, man, this technology is amazing, right? That we're able to do this. Um,
Absolutely.
but I only have you for a certain amount of time, so I want to wrap with this. For an SMB exporter listening right now who wants to grow their cross-border business, what's the most important first step they can take now to go expand?
Sure, right? I think what we see working with 1,000 merchants that we work with is that the businesses who are doing well or who are growing consistently bring in a certain amount of design and quality and uniqueness to their product, right? So of course there are businesses who sell products which are pretty much selling on price, where there are 1,000 people who could be selling a similar product. And then there are businesses, right, who bring some amount of uniqueness to their product, in terms of design, in terms of packaging, in terms of quality, in terms of customer service. And those businesses start building a certain amount of community around them, if I was to say that, right? And this is equally true in cross border as it is true in domestic commerce as well, right? So I would, and of course, right, it's about sort of where do I sell? I need the technology, marketplace, listing, supply chain rails, and Xindus will deliver that to you, right? So you don't, so we want to deliver that to you. We don't want you to think about that. We want you to know that that will just work out of the box, but we want you to think about your product, right? We want you to think about how you can take a unique story and a unique product to market for which you are known and which your customer wants to buy, right? So that's what I would say to my exporters, Timur.
Fantastic. I think that's great advice. Well, Saurabh, this was super insightful, and I really appreciate you coming on and breaking down the cross-border challenges and talking about the solution Xindus is bringing. Now, for listeners, where can people go to learn more about Xindus or get in touch with you?
Oh, so of course you can go to Xindus.net, xindus.net. That's our website. From there you can block time with the team, etc. I'm on LinkedIn, so you can look me up, Saurabh Goyal. Run a search. I'm on LinkedIn. Connect with me. Happy, more than sort of happy to chat. Then we have a YouTube channel at Xindus. You can come and see our products and our videos. So yeah, we are wherever you want to find us.
Man, that's awesome. Well, thanks, Saurabh. I really appreciate you coming on the show today. And listeners, if you're looking for more expert insights, please don't forget to subscribe to Logistics Remix channel on YouTube and give us a thumbs up. And I greatly appreciate it. Saurabh, thank you very much. And we'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you, Timur, and it's been a real joy being with you. Of course, we've been speaking now for the last 2.5 years, and you're equally a part of this industry. Thank you.
Glad to be part of it.